All right, intro to algebra class. Here is our second lesson we have here for today. Now we're going to be looking at 4.2. Still deals with fractions. All of Unit 4 is going to be fractions. Today we're going to look at, in this lesson, we're going to look at adding fractions with the same denominators, how to do that, and how to go about multiplying fractions. All right, and like I said before, you may already know how to do this, which is fine. A lot of this we cover this year is just review to help us get ready for Algebra 1 class next year. Okay, so if you need to watch the video for this and kind of get some tips and some ways to do these problems, great. If you already know how to do them, then you don't need to worry about that. All right, so let's take a look at what we have first. All right, so let's take a look at what fractions would be like if they have the same denominator. Okay, so fractions with the same denominator. So look at this example. We have 3/4 and we have 1/4. All right, like we talked about before, the number on the top is the numerator, so I'll put n's right there. And the number down on the bottom is our denominator, so I'll put a D down there on each one of those. So notice both of these have the same exact denominator, right? They both have a 4. All right, so if two or more fractions have the same denominator, what we call those like denominators. All right, so we would say 3/4 and 1/4 have like denominators. Okay, and then we're going to go about adding some fractions here next. All right, and it's important here when you're going to add or subtract fractions. We're not going to do any subtracting today, but we're going to add. You want to only add or subtract just the numerators. Okay, we don't want to do any adding or subtracting with the denominators. We're only focused on doing math with just the numerators. Okay, so let's take a look at going about adding some fractions here. All right, so we're going to add fractions that have the same denominator. So fractions can only be added. The only time we can add fractions is when they have like denominators. Okay, so they got to have the same denominators to be able to add them. Okay, so take a look at my 3 examples here. All 3 of these examples have the same denominators for each addition problem, okay, which means we can go ahead and add these. And where we're going to add them, just like I said in the last slide, we only want to add the numerators, okay, that's it. We don't do anything at all with the denominators. The denominators stay exactly the same. We just do math with the numerators. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got here. So we have 1/5 plus 3/5. We're just going to add the numerators. So 1 and 3 is going to get us 4. And the denominator does absolutely nothing. It stays a 5. We don't even do anything with those 5s. We just write, if they're 5s here, we put a 5 there for the denominator. Okay, that's all we do. We're just going to add numerators only. Okay, and I'm stressing that because I see that as a very common thing students do. They add the top and they add the bottom. All right, we're only going to add the top, only the numerators. Okay, so let's take a look at our next one. These both have like denominators in this addition problem, so we're going to add them. We're just going to add our numerators and leave the denominator exactly the same. It's just going to stay an 8. Okay, this one down here, we'll add this together. It's also going to be a 7, just like this other one. So 3 and 4, 10 stays a 10. We don't do anything with the denominators. I feel like I can't say that enough. We're just going to add just the numerators. All right, there's some examples. Not too bad. I want you guys to try these. See what you get here. If I catch any of you adding these denominators, I'm going to be really, really upset. All right, just the numerators, please. Please, just the numerators. Okay, try this, hit pause, and then we'll check your answers. Okay, let's take a look at what you came up with here. All right, so adding just the numerators. Okay, so we'd get 5/7 would be our answer to this problem. 9 over 11 is our answer to this one. And then we got 9 over 15 here would be our answer to that one there. All right. Let's take a look at what we have next. We did some adding with like denominators. Now let's look at some multiplying. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is multiply fractions and whole numbers together. Okay, so we'll go through this first part. If you're multiplying a fraction and a whole number, the whole number needs to first be changed to a fraction. Okay, they got to both be fractions. All right, like this, right? Take a look at this problem down here. We got 2/3 times 7. Okay, we can't multiply these until we change that 7 into a fraction also. They both need to be fractions. Okay, so how do we go about doing that? Well, this is the next part. This is done by simply just placing a 1 underneath of the whole number. That's all we do to get it to change into a fraction. We can change any whole number in the world into a fraction by simply just sticking a 1 underneath of it. Okay, so here's what we got to do. This first problem we were talking about. We need to change this 7 into a fraction before we multiply. So we're going to put a 1 under it. All right, now when we do that, it looks a little funky here because these things aren't really quite lined up really nicely. Not like our addition problems. Let's go back a second. See how these addition problems were just lined up really nice? That's sweet right there, okay? These ones are not. We're going to get them lined up. So I'm going to rewrite it because I just like to stay organized. I don't like the look of this, okay? I'm going to rewrite it 2/3 times, and I'm going to go 7 over 1 like that. Doesn't that look so much better? Well, mine's a little off a little bit there, but it's lined up a whole lot better than what it did look, all right? Now that they're lined up, you're just going to multiply straight across. Multiply your numerators, and now we're going to multiply our denominators, okay? We didn't do anything with the denominators when we're adding, but when we multiply, we do, all right? And that's why people don't like fractions so much. There's a lot of rules for when we can do stuff and when we can't. So when we multiply, we're going to multiply the numerators and we're going to multiply the denominators. We're going to do both of them. Okay, so if I multiply the numerators and denominators, I'm going to get 14 over top of 3. So I'm going to stick my answer right up here, 14 over 3. Okay, so that would be the answer I get. Multiply the top, multiply the bottom, and write down what you have. All right, let's check out our second one here. We got 4/5 times 9. We need to change 9 into a fraction. First, stick a 1 underneath of it so you can change it into a fraction. All right, and then like I said, I don't like how it's just not really lined up as well. So visually, I like to rewrite it just so I can see what I'm working with. Okay, that's a little bit better. Now I can see they're lined up really nicely, and I can multiply straight across. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. Okay, so we're going to get 36 over top of 5. So there's my answer to that one. All right. One last one we got to look at here. This time we're multiplying 3 different terms, 3 different parts together, right? All the parts of a math problem are called a term. So this one has 3 different terms. All right, so we got 3/4 times 5 times 2. We got a 5 and a 2 here. They're both whole numbers. We need to change them both into fractions. So we're going to put 1s underneath each one of those. Then I'm going to rewrite it. So I'm going to have 3 over 4 times 5 over 1 times 2 over 1. All right, just like that. Now we're just going to multiply straight across for all 3 of these. So we're going to multiply our numerators all the way across and your denominators all the way across. Your numerators all the way across, 3 times 5 is 15, times 2 is 30, over top of 4. All right, so that would be our answer, 30 over top of 4. Okay, and you might be asking me, because you've worked fractions before, like, Mr. Peterson, why aren't we simplifying these? We're not going to yet, all right? We will. Unit 4 is going to get us into some simplifying, but we're just covering just how to multiply right now without doing the simplifying part. So if you're wondering about that, there's your answer. Okay, try a couple of these on your own here. You got 3 of them, just like what we just worked out. Remember, stick ones underneath of those whole numbers. Rewrite them if you need to. If you don't like to rewrite them, that's fine. But see what you get for some answers. Hit pause, and then when you're done, push play, and we'll see what we get. All right, let's see what these came out to. Okay, for me, I chose to rewrite them. All right, so here's what we got. We got 3 times 6 and 4 times 1 is going to get me 18 over top of 4. Second one, when I rewrite it, I got 1 times 5, 7 times 1, so we're going to have 5 over top of 7. And this one here, we have 4/5 times 3 over 1 times 8 over 1. All right, so you multiply your numerators, your denominators, so you're going to get 96 over top of 5. All right, hopefully that's what you got. Take a look at what your answers came out to. Make any corrections that you might need. And the last thing we're going to take a look at is multiplying a fraction and a fraction. Okay, so just simply multiplying fractions without any whole numbers. Okay, here we go. So if you're going to be multiplying just fractions, all you got to do is simply, you're just going to multiply straight across. Okay, multiply your numerators and multiply your denominators, and then write down your answer. Okay, since they're both fractions, they are ready to multiply. We don't have any whole numbers in here. We just got our fractions. So multiply straight across. 2 times 4 is going to get you 8. 3 times 5 is going to get you 15. All right, simple as that. Numerators and denominators get multiplied straight across. Next one, 5 and 7. It's going to get us 35, 9 and 8, 72. Okay, and the last one, 3 and 5 is going to get us 15. And 4 times 13 is going to get us 52. All right, perfect. There we go. We got it. Simple as that. I'll have you guys try some, and then we'll be wrapping this up here. Okay, try these 3 problems on your own. See what you come up with. Hit pause, and then when you're done, hit play, and we'll check your work. Okay, let's see what you guys came up with for these. All right, so first one, we'd have 3 over top of 28. Multiply the top, multiply the bottom. You get your answer. Second one, we have 35 over top of 72. Was that the same one we just did? Yeah, it was. I didn't change that one around. Okay. All right, and the last one we got here is a different one. You got 2 over 19 times 4 over 11. Multiply straight across. You're going to end up with 8 over top of 209. All right, so there's your 3 answers to those. Hopefully those worked. If they didn't, make any corrections you need to. And let's take a look at what you guys got to work on left for today. I saw that slide. No, it's back here. It kind of got mixed up. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so you should have already gotten done these 2 quizzes from 4-1. We just got done with 4-2 here together, going through those notes. So now you have these 2 quizzes to do. All right, and that's all your task to do today, is get those quizzes wrapped up, and then you'll be good to go. Tomorrow we'll look at 4-3 and 4-4 notes. Okay, I hope that worked out well for you guys. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time for more fraction stuff.